Yeah, so we are reacting to something very different. Um, so I don't think it really knows, but basically, I've decided my goal for the year is marathon. So with that, I have obsessive personalities. That means trying to learn everything about it and understand everything about it. Also saying now that I fucking admitting this live on stream, posting this, so I guess I have to be held accountable. So there's that fun fact. So basically, we decided we're going to run a marathon at the end of the year. Been running for almost going on a year now. I'm trying to take it seriously. So trying to do all the little things right to see if we can get better. And trying not to get absolutely hustled by the good-looking blonde girl at the running store and buying very, very expensive shoes that I don't really like. That is not all personal and not at all a personal story and not at all exactly what happened to me. Not saying the expensive shoes aren't worth it, because that is probably the best investment you can make to get a proper pair of running shoes and just fucking spend the money. But maybe do some actual research and don't just stare at the blonde girl lovingly and hope that she loves you in exchange for buying a pair of running shoes. But yeah, so we might be taking a turn into watching a lot more fitness or looking at some fitness focused stuff. And reacting to some of the stuff depending how well it does, instead of just doing some like anime and nerd culture shit, which still gonna do that as well, but trying a different leaf with, I guess, the goals for the year in mind. So yeah. Also, yes, I am a millennial, so it was at some point that I would have to actually start running and commit to a marathon. I feel like it's a rite of passage once you hit 30, 32. That you have to commit some kind of fucking midlife crisis, and buying a sports car is just not feasible. An expensive pair of running shoes, a lot cheaper than a sports car, just saying.
As the running social media boom continues, and
I will admit, it is the thing for the entire world to do that is nearing 30 or over 30, but at least I don't post it on social media.
the sport
Apart from mentioning it on stream.
evolves, companies are managing to develop products to help us get.
I really don't want to say what that looks like. I mean, personal preference, never really been into it. Not a lot of girlfriends been very, very happy with it. So, I mean, each to their own.
Get that extra 1% out of us during training and on race day.
Worst part is I'm that guy that does believe in gels.
Or are they? In a world where sponsored content on social media is at an all-time high and content creators are partnering up with brands left, right and centre.
I cannot read what he's trying to show us on the watch.
To promote their products, I wanted to take a deep dive into the ones that I've tried and feel work, and the ones I've tried that I feel you guys might be better off avoiding. Now this all...
So, now that I see he's got a hat with a lot of holes in it. Fun fact, I hate hats. I don't wear hats. I do not believe in hats. But my balding ass motherfucker has now had to start wearing hats when we go running. And I could not rock the ones with all the holes on it, because the whole point is so my poor little balding head does not get burnt.
came about
Fun fact.
after a lovely long-term viewer dropped a comment congratulating me on a recent race performance and said basically, I'd love to know, over the years you've tried a lot of products, which ones do you
Various aids in comments. In inverted commas. Interesting.
genuinely recommend, and which ones do you feel you would now avoid? So I'll break it down into 3 categories. I'll go through the ones that I feel really work for me, the ones that are okay, they are definitely worth maybe testing, but potentially you might not get the best out of them.
Just don't recommend the cum bowl.
Or they might not be for you, and then the ones that personally for me I'd avoid hands down. So let's just get straight into it. I think the first
I love how he doesn't commit to fucking general statements, but oh, just me. Which, fair enough, personal preference and all, but still.
one that was in her list
Like there should be some kind of amicable, like concrete yes or no to certain things.
was gels and super shoes. She mentioned a couple of products in there, and I think from my perspective,
Sorry, I was in the wrong
hadn't
fucking
even
screenshot.
thought about adding those into the list because they're so non-negotiable for me now, but I'll throw them out there. Yes,
I feel like there's so much evidence that they work.
I wouldn't be without super shoes. If you saw the previous video where I compared the Adios 9 and the Streak Fly, you'll again see the marginal gains that you can get from shoes with carbon plates in them. And of course, those Streak Flies aren't even the big stack ones that we might consider using on those longer races. I would not be without them. And super shoes, I love to save those for...
Oh, super shoes being shoes that are designed to go as fast as possible and normally have some kind of carbon plate within the sole to give you extra energy return and pop to help you run faster further. If you didn't know what super shoes were.
Race day. When it comes to gels, again, I wouldn't be without those as well, especially if we're doing the longer distance races like half marathons and marathons. We need all the carbs we can get, and especially for me as well as a bigger runner, I know I need more fuel than some of the more normal size people out.
He says normal, so he's a big runner. Okay, dude was pretty skinny, which I don't think which I think I am allowed to say. I'm allowed to call people skinny. I'm a skinny person myself. He does not look that massively tall. I could be wrong, but it does not look like he's fucking like 3 meters tall.
Out there that enjoy the sport of running, so I definitely need to get the carbs in. And for me, gels are just a great way to do it. I haven't agreed with all the gels, and again, that could be a completely separate video.
I'll reserve my comment.
Gels and shoes are absolutely non-negotiable. Her comment also.
I read massive guns, and I was like, wow. I don't know how much America you want to get here, but sure. I don't know. That's an interesting take. Gels, I agree with. I've taken gels. I use gels when I do long run. It makes a difference. They're just so fucking expensive and also taste terrible. Cheap version that probably isn't good for you. Fucking bag of some cola bottles. Sweet. Good old Haribos. Probably not efficient and not as good. Also, I don't think he really mentioned the super shoe thing where most, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they don't work, but most of the evidence shows that to really eke out a lot of performance from them, you need to be a much faster runner, which clearly, yes, he definitely is. But I'm assuming most people that watching this wouldn't necessarily be towards the higher end of runners, because that's just not how any hobby works. More often than not, most people are around at like a casual level. So being able to recommend running shoes to what would be a newbie, which I would include myself in that, very much include myself in that. I probably wouldn't be able to maintain paces to really eke out the big difference in super shoes. Probably just better off with a much more responsive cushioned foam. In saying that, I do actually have a fucking pair of training shoes with carbon rods in them. I don't feel like the carbon rods make the difference. I just feel like that they a lot lighter and a much better energy return foam composition of the sole than my other very comfortable shoes. I'm referring to Boston 12s, by the way, in case you're wondering. These Boston 12s versus my pair of Easy Run shoes or Lazy People shoes or shoes that was condensed by hot blonde sales lady. Essex numbers 26s, by the way. Sorry, that was the part I left out. I'll remember her to this day.
I mentioned ketones and bicarb. We'll come to those in a second. The next one I want to say that I would never be without is a massage gun.
I refuse. You cannot. The right way to do this is you finish, you cry to yourself a little bit because you finished the run and it was sore and it was hard and it was long. Then you go sit in the shower. And then there you can cry openly because no one can hear you cry, and the water washes away your tears, and you carry on like nothing happened, and you don't do any massage gun work. That is the correct way. That is what we should all be doing, and that is how the world should work.
I have owned a massage gun for probably about 6 or 7 years.
The massage gun is called Bob and Brad. You like Bob and Brad massage a lot of things.
And from my perspective, once again.
And also, what the fuck is that attachment for?
From a recovery standpoint, it's the one thing that I would not be without. I've owned a variety of massage guns over the years. I've purchased one with my own money and I've been sent them by brands. In particular, this one here, Bob and Brad, they reached out and sent me massage guns. But as I said, I purchased my very first one and I have never ever gone without using a massage gun. I use them on a weekly basis, pretty much.
I bet he massages lots of things with that gun.
After every hard session, I've learned how to use a massage gun better, and I feel like that knowledge in itself makes a massive difference when you get them, because I think what a lot of people do is take a massage gun and just rub it over their muscles and think that it will help, and it does to a degree. But actually what you can do that's really useful with a massage gun is put it on some of the pinch points or the tendon ends, just gently push and then stretch your leg out, because ultimately what we've got is our muscle fibers within their sheaths and we're just trying to get them moving nicely again. And when we get muscle knots and they all get twisted up, we're trying to just relax.
That's what crying in the shower is for. Crying releases the knots, and the shower water makes you feel better about life.
Release those, and so just by rubbing over the top of that, it's not necessarily going to do the release that we need to those muscle fibers. So I find that if I push the massage gun nicely on those tendon ends and then just elongate the muscle out, I often find after about 5 or 10 goes of that, my muscles start to feel a lot better. So again,
that is probably very good advice, I would guess. I don't know.
Completely non-negotiable there. Plus, I will just throw in a lacrosse ball as well. I use that in particular on my glute. That is an absolute godsend as well. So
uses a ball in his ass. Okay.
Basic, so simple. Those are the ones that I use for recovery. Bicarb is up next. That's one that, again, since testing it out.
This seems like such a cum ball. This seems like such a, like, my grandma used to tell me, use lemon juice and vinegar to clean your windows or fucking the shower tiles to get rid of scum, like dirt in them. This feels like one of those kind of vibes.
Last year, purchased with my own money.
Which in theory does make sense, bicarb being a base as far as I know, so it should counteract lactic acid buildup, I'm guessing is the science behind it.
I have not now raced without it, and in fact actually it was really interesting because I did a 1 mile time trial last week or the week before, and I actually didn't use it in the time trial, and I did feel a difference. So the first time I used it, I thought to myself, I'll use it on a regular 5k time trial route that I love to do. And often I know in certain areas where it gets a bit hilly or whatever, I can push a bit harder, I can start to feel that lactate just building in the system. The arms start to tingle a bit and get a little bit heavy, and I start to have to control myself a little bit before pushing on, just let things simmer down. And I just did not experience that with the bicarb, and of course that's the whole idea of bicarb. And I'm going to go into the science of it. But
so, okay, yes, he's got a specialty bicarb mix. Can you just buy like fucking bicarb off the shelf in the grocery store and mix that bitch with water and eat it? Also, another hack that I think is on a similar thing. I don't know if it's a hack or not a hack. Never tried it, but it sounds interesting. Fucking Rennie's. I don't know if Rennie's is an international brand or South African thing. Like stomach antacid tablets where people just pop those while they're running to help with lactate buildup and lactic acid buildup as well. Or same thing, just different words. So fun fact or alternative, if eating the cum bowl doesn't seem as good, at least eat things people are supposed to eat.
Of course, I would love to just recommend a video from one of my friends, Matt, the Welsh runner. He did a great video on the science of bicarb, so you should definitely check that out. He goes into much more detail about how it's beneficial for us runners. But of course, the history behind bicarb is bodybuilders have been using it for absolutely years. Runners have been using it for a very, very long time. It's just like a lot of things, come to the forefront, come into the mainstream a little bit more recently, and become very...
Is it like safe to consume in that high levels if you're using it regularly? I don't actually know what like I know it's bicarbonate of soda, but I don't know how healthy that is for you. I know we're using some baked goods to get like certain textures and stuff, but they're not putting in fucking like tablespoons of bicarb into my fucking bread. Or whatever they actually use it in baked goods. I don't know if they use it in bread.
Very effective and a little bit more popular. And so since that time trial where I noticed that I didn't get my system flooded with lactate, I felt like I could push up the hills and over the top of the hills and ran a personal best on that time trial course.
Hey, homie in the front has Adidas shoes. Those look like, I don't know if those are Adios or Bostons.
So I thought, okay, I'll test it in a race. And again, I had a winter of hilly courses to do, and absolutely zero burning sensation in the arms, zero feeling of any lactate building in the system. It was such a wonderful sensation. I'm sure a lot of you have been there where you're pushing on your limits and you can start to feel your arms.
It's actually really interesting. That seems like an actual very interesting takeaway if it does work. So I feel like the lactic, or well, lactate, lactic acid, same bullshit, same thing being referred to at least, buildup being reduced and the onset of that fatigue being reduced or pushed out for longer is very applicable to anyone. Like in terms of at any level where you try, okay, obviously not like fuck, you know, you can't walk, you can't like jog 200 meters, but I mean, even then, I think kind of makes sense. But the point where your aerobic system can handle the points where the lactic acid becomes a nuisance at least. That's to that level. That seems like that could be very widely applicable. So that one's actually quite interesting.
Your legs, your chest getting a bit heavy, everything's starting to tingle a little bit. I get absolutely none of that. So again, I would not be without that now. And just to remind you,
that one I would actually maybe try one day. I just don't think in South Africa, the country I live in, you get the fancy shit like that. We barely have fucking gels to choose from. That you would, I wonder if you can just smash like bicarb off a grocery store shelf. which does not sound appealing.
purchase this stuff
Also, if you can kind of make it into a much thinner drink so it doesn't look like fucking cum in a bowl.
with my own money, and I in fact have just placed another order only the other day because I've run out. And the final thing in the absolute list that I would no longer be without is Ketone IQ. So just a disclaimer, I do get
I'm very interested. I haven't heard a lot about ketones, but I've heard varying opinions on them. Not that I actually even understand what they are, to be brutally honest. All I see is there's caffeine in that, so that's dope.
get sent this stuff so I don't have to pay for it. So take that into consideration. I don't push this product a lot on my channel. In fact, I can't even remember the last time I told anyone to check out the link in the description. I just like to use it, and I showcase
Well, except for now.
on race days. How I find this effective is I've really started to home in on the caffeinated version of this. I do use the normal version sometimes before runs, but mainly now this is my race day fuel. So when I'm building up to a race, I have my main fuel around 3.5 hours out. I'll have my bicarb 2 hours out, and then
Jesus. So 3.5 hours out, you're fueling. 2 hours out, you're bar carbing. Like, fuck, dude. Are you waking up at like 1 in the morning to start prep?
I look to get about 200 milligrams of caffeine in the system.
Admirable. Okay, I support the caffeine.
Around 35 to 40 minutes.
But 200, might be some rookie numbers there, my man. We need to at least have like 5 different energy drinks.
Before race start.
I am also joking. Not really. You get caffeine in gels.
And I mix that in a combination of Ketone IQ. This gives me 100 milligrams, and then usually a caffeinated gel, usually the Morton gel, which I purchase those with my own money. A lot of people take coffee.
I've seen a lot of people actually recommending Morton. I don't know if we get it in South Africa, but I feel like almost every YouTuber or influencer I see always seems to recommend or really like Morton. I don't know why, or I don't know if it's one of the ones that's most readily available that is good quality and tastes decent, because fuck me, do they taste horrible, most gels. It, like, at the point where you have to focus more on just fucking drink the gel or chew the gel, depending how thick it is, and just get it down than actually trying to run. I don't know if that's the benefit, like, for your little 2 minutes you're trying to have your gel, you don't need to focus on running, so all you're trying to focus on is not throwing up.
I cannot have coffee before a run. I will myself. I've tested it a few times.
Is caffeine not caffeine? Okay, look, I am not a coffee drinker, but I would assume that the caffeine in coffee is what makes you shit yourself, or makes you shit. So wouldn't any form of caffeine do the same? I don't actually know. I don't know if any coffee drinker can like let us know down in the comments. Does it make a fucking difference where the caffeine comes from? If you pound a Coke Zero or a Red Bull or fucking green tea, is it the same I need a shit effect as coffee?
And it has never worked. And I think I'm going to say this without it being a sales pitch, but hopefully it gives you an understanding of my mindset.
Okay, maybe he is very tall compared to all the people he's running with. I'll take back what I said earlier. Man might be a fucking giant. He makes these people look like children next to him.
But I think because I can offer you guys a 30% discount code, I think if you purchase the box, I think it works out roughly around about £3.50, £3.60 a shot.
Okay, he's British, not American. Interesting.
Which does sound expensive, absolutely, but it's also the price of a coffee when you go to a coffee shop. So for
that I don't know, but that seems fuck off expensive for a coffee when I convert that into local currency.
For me, for someone that cannot take coffee, I find this to be just as effective. I love the feeling of being wired and switched on. And again, if I didn't get sent this stuff, I would now purchase it with my own money. I will, however, say though, I would use it more sparingly, probably just save it for race day. So I am very grateful I get sent it. But again, this is one of the ones that I wouldn't be without. So let's get into a couple of...
What is that? Because, okay, yes, it's caffeine. I'm Googling. I really want to know. Gonna bug me. Okay, so ketone IQ high performance in a bottle. What are you? Science. Metabolism is under attack. My metabolism seems okay. Actually, we can pull this up and yeah, we've got display capture. Get 75% of Americans are overweight or obese. 88% of Americans are metabolically unhealthy. I feel like better or clean up your diet would work a lot more, but okay. Metabolism of the body's process of converting food into energy is vital to our health. A strong metabolism can help promote better sleep, control mood, manage weight, and improve energy levels. I'm pretty sure most of the data says that you can't really adapt your metabolism to a certain extent. People who are metabolically unhealthy, so people who basically the same people who are overweight, because will have worse biomarkers like blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar levels, such as chronic diseases or issues linked to poor metabolic. Yeah, so that's stuff like being chronically overweight. Cool, got you. Ketones are a natural source of fuel for your body. They are often created when you stored carbs that are depleted, triggering body to convert fats into ketones for fuel. Unlike fats, ketones can cross the blood-brain barrier, allowing ketones to fuel both the brain and the body. Compared to other sources of energies like glucose or fat, ketones are more efficient fuel, but we're using fat. We're making fats into ketones. So we aerosolizing. This is like an engine. We take fat or fuel or petrol, diesel, whatever, gas, whatever you want to call it, and aerosolize it and out the ketone, and now it's more efficient. Ketone levels can be measured in a number of ways and are key biomarkers to access metabolic health. What ways? How to measure ketone levels? Blood test, breath test, urine test. Same way I measure my alcohol level. Still don't know what this is. Are science-backed benefits you can look for to energy, method performance, mental focus? It still hasn't actually said what it is. It's just some magical liquid to help you lose weight and make you burn fat. Ketosis fundamentals. Oh, because it's going to be a whole ketosis thing. Ketosis using fat for fuel because you're not having carbs. That's you would have understood from ketosis as in like keto diet. If you don't consume carbs, your body has to burn fat as fuel. You have no glycogen stored in your body cells, but that doesn't necessarily promote weight loss. You can still overconsume calories and gain weight. What does this put your body in a state of ketosis? Is that basically what it's supposed to do? I mean, most of their staff's quite good looking. Hey, Mitchell Hooper. Cool shit on YouTube. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know if I really buy any of that shit. I'm also the world's biggest skeptic. Look, I haven't researched much into it. But if what I understand is somehow supposed to put your body into a state of ketosis, which as far as I believe is means you just you use fat as a fuel source, which I thought the only way to get into a ketogenic state was just glycogen and glucose stores most entirely, so you have option and become better at using fat as fuel. I thought you just did that by not consuming any carbs or next to no carbs, so your body didn't have carbohydrate source to convert or into glucose and glycogen. But hey, I actually don't know if I'm right. I think like I know exactly what I'm talking about. I actually have no idea.
Products that I feel are good but maybe not essential for you or me. We'll kickstart with the Pure Sport Muscle Bar.
So I feel like just taking a fucking caffeine pill would do the same.
Here, I've used this and the freeze roll. Disclaimer, I should probably say I used to purchase this with my own money. I then became a brand ambassador for them, so I did get sent it for a bit. I am now no longer a brand ambassador, so I no longer get sent the product. And so why is it good but not essential?
Why did they get rid of you, homie? And you're still recommending them. You're crawling back. This is like going back to your ex that got rid of you.
So for me, if I'm feeling extra sore, so obviously I've already explained about how I use the massage gun. It is absolutely fantastic. If I'm feeling extra sore, if I've had a really hard workout, if my legs are feeling really beaten up, if I'm in high mileage, I will do the following: hot bath, Pure Sport Muscle Bar.
Cry in the shower. That's basically what he means by hot bath. That is what he's trying to say. He might cry in the bath. Personal preference.
Massage gun in that order. So I have a hot bath, nice and relaxed. Put some of this on when I get out, wait half an hour or so, let this sort of start to absorb in, and then I will use the massage gun after that. And with this, I use a gua sha. If you've not seen one of those, it's just a little metal scraper tool that, again, I talked earlier about the
Got that 10,000 milligram CBD magnesium arnica. Gonna get me some muscles high as fuck.
muscle fibers. It's so important to loosen those muscle fibers, and with a gua sha tool you kind of just iron down those muscle fibers, so it just irons out any knots. And I find after a hot bath, this then makes it easier to apply this and iron those out, and then the massage gun makes it the ultimate combination. I feel like with a lot of influencers and people marketing this product, they'll often say that this is the muscle balm that you need, but I don't think a lot of people really know how they should or shouldn't use it. And I think a lot of people
I have no idea what the fuck muscle balm even is supposed to be. I don't know. I'm assuming it's not like a fucking Voltaren gel that's supposed to help your muscles feel better. It's just supposed, or not feel better, but like to stop inflammation. I feel like that's just something that's supposed to help give, I don't know, relaxation. I actually don't know what it's supposed to do.
purchase this stuff and think it's going to be the magic cure to their aching legs. I really hate to break it to you, but it's not. I come from a day and age where I used to play football a lot. I used to go into the changing room, it used to stink of deep heat and Tiger Balm, and I used to slap that sort of stuff all over my legs before getting out there and playing football just to get rid of any aches and pains. So I'm used to using this type of stuff. I know how you're meant to use it. I know how effective it can be, but I also know that it can be really mismarketed quite poorly, and I think a lot of people can pick this up and just put it on and use it and go, well, it's not working. I've just wasted all my money. So that's why I think it.
I feel like that's a good distinction to make, but now is it really? I don't know if it's the gel working or the fact that he uses whatever the fuck that metal thing was to actually help a bit more.
It's good, but it's got to be used in the right way, otherwise just avoid it. And the other one I want to mention is magnesium. Again, this has been quite popular across Instagram and YouTube to be having before bed. I'm really sorry, I'm not targeting Pillar here. This is just the brand that I have on my desk. Again, I feel it's good, and I have had.
I feel like, okay, that one, I don't even think that just in terms of as a running focused product, but there is so many studies that show that magnesium is such a good mineral in terms of your body balance, and it's something that is so underdosed in terms of macronutrient deficiencies in terms of what we find in food or what we are able to actually gather from our diet versus what we should be taking. I feel like that's just a very efficacious supplement in general, not even just for running, but in terms of like life.
Good results from using magnesium.
Also, I definitely not take mine before bed. I'm not deciding to take it I must not have to force myself to remember to take one specific thing before bed. I'll take it when I take my other shit in the morning. I am not now going to separate them about when to take them. If they're going to do the fucking job, they must do the job when I need them to do the job.
I have found my deep sleep because I do track all my sleep using my watch.
In fairness, magnesium has shown a lot of benefit for sleep. I'm just don't care enough. Also, 100% going to forget.
To improve when I'm using this, and I do feel really good when I wake up. For the most part, I can usually get a relatively good night's sleep anyway. So for me, it really is marginal gains. I probably consider using this sort of stuff if my...
Did that just say a homie slept for 9 hours, 11 minutes? Fucking jealous. Not because I couldn't, just because fucking life.
Mileage was in excess of like 100 miles a week, and I really was looking for those extra.
That is fucking insane.
1%, but for me at a stage where I'm running, let's say 60, 70 miles a week, and I can get some decent sleep 5, 6 of the 7 nights out of the week anyway, with maybe 1 poor night's sleep thrown in there, I don't tend to find that it makes enough of a difference for me to warrant using it. If you suffer from poor sleep, then absolutely it might be worth trying it, because I definitely do feel a difference. I just, for me and my level, don't feel it's necessarily enough to warrant using it or splashing the cash. Just again as a disclaimer, I was sent this product for the purpose of review, and I have been sent other stuff by Xmiles, other magnesium products. I've had good success with it all, but as I said, marginal gains, and for me, I'm not quite needing that stuff just yet. So let's...
That I feel like's one that he's overlooking a lot of other benefits. That is probably one thing that most people would actually recommend is taking a magnesium supplement just in terms of your actual daily life. not just sleep focus. Well, yes, it has a lot of benefits for sleep, but in so many other things, especially if you are active, you use a lot of magnesium. If you are on, if you do jobs that are physical or you're on your feet for very extended periods of time, and just to help with a lot of other things, magnesium has shown massive benefits. So one I would actually say should probably be a recommend. Maybe not running focused necessarily. Whereas he didn't necessarily speak about its benefits for running, he just spoke about benefits of sleep. And obviously, good sleep has benefits for everything else in life, including any form of exercise or running. So fair enough to him.
Getting to the final section, which things would I personally avoid? Well, I wouldn't touch AG1 or any type of daily green supplement.
I saw that in the thing, and I wasn't sure if he was going to go stand behind it or not stand behind it.
I'm sure they're good, and I'm sure that they do some kind of decent job for our immune system or our bodies. But I think the reality is there's a couple of reasons I avoid it, and I'll let you in on a little secret in a second. But I think the first thing is, if you're not getting any type of balance in your 7-day weekly cycle of diet, then that's what you need to address more so than looking at trying to chug a bit of daily greens first. Don't get me wrong, as I said, I'm sure it does a good job. I know people that have taken it, and I have heard positive feedback from it, but I often feel like there's a fundamental issue there if you are relying on it to get in your daily nutrition. The ultimate goal you need to think about.
I know I've been very sarcastic, but this take I could not probably agree more with. The AG1 Daily Greens are inherently a product that shouldn't be needed, if that makes sense. Yes, there's, first of all, I don't really know their actual nutritional structure to know if it is very good or not very good. But if you're at a point where you need to supplement daily greens into your diet because your diet is that shit or that bad, you maybe should, like you said, relook at your diet and fix your diet. Obviously, yes, there's obviously the beneficial side around it of, I don't know if they have high fiber. I would assume if it's supposed to be daily greens, there is a lot of fiber there. So if you need to supplement your fiber intake because your person needs a lot higher fiber and that makes it a lot easier to get to fiber goal, then fair enough. Or if you are, stuck in the middle of nowhere, you're going to be having a very poor diet for a few days, putting it in there to maybe elevate or help your macro or macronutrient profile, then fair enough, support them. But as a general supplement to be taking every day, if you need it to balance out your nutrient intake, like you said, you should probably be looking at your diet more than you should be looking at taking some weird green powder that I'm assuming is very fucking expensive.
A runner is, what are you getting in over a 7-day period? Because on some days, if you're doing heavier runs or longer runs, I should say, then you might be a bit more carb focused and a little bit less fiber going into your system, a little bit less vegetables and very much more plain rice, pasta, and whatever else like that. But on the days that you're not running, or potentially on the evenings after all your runs, are you getting in the goodness that you need? And if you are, then really, do you need AG1 or any type of daily green supplement? Potentially not. And the other thing I just want to share,
I feel like this is such a down-to-earth, honest take for a product that I think I've seen advertised on almost every fucking fitness influencer channel. And he's done such a good job of still being unbiased about it. Clearly he's not supporting it, but justifying a reason why you should need it, but why at the same time you shouldn't, and how you should rather be treating your lifestyle as a whole. Not just saying it's shit, you don't need it, what are you doing with yourself? But saying that it solves a problem that shouldn't have happened in the first place, so you need to fix that problem. I actually really like his take on this.
Share with you that I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to anyways. I've been approached 2 or 3 times to do advertising with them, and basically,
I actually wouldn't be surprised if he was, because I feel like almost anyone in the fitness space has been approached by them.
It's a very generic email that gets sent out, and the strapline is effectively that myself or any other creator could earn up to 50% commission, and I know the commission is very high per sale on.
I mean, I'm assuming it's a very expensive product. So 50% commission is insane returns. But also as a company, if you're offering 50% commission, what margins are you making that you can literally say, take half and we still make more than enough to pay for literally everything as a company? Because your return sales could not be that evidently high that you're using. You could use that as a loss leader, but also at some point you can't lose to that massive of an extent when you know you're not guaranteed return customers after that.
On these products, and I also know how much they market these products or how much they sell these.
Okay, never mind. It is very expensive. I go back to it being very, very expensive.
Products for. So the honest truth is they must be making this product for peanuts to be able to offer the influencer that high of a commission to then flog it for the price that they do. So again, instantly that was a huge turn off for me, and I just was not interested in doing anything with them. And the second and final thing is more advice than anything more than a product to avoid. And yes, it's a little bit controversial because I use all of the products that I'm about to say, but if you're a new runner, so yes, I'm talking to you specifically.
Okay, there we go. Now we're getting the new runner distinction, which I think is also very important. He said at his level he uses them, but they are good for him, which I really like the take of trying to differentiate between what would be smart for maybe someone at his level or in his realm at least. If you're putting up fucking 100 miles a week, that's what, like 240 Ks a week? That's fucking insane. And then those people that are just starting out, which I do include myself in, so that's very interesting. Because you get very conned very easily when you see research data into so many things that could help you, and you're like, ooh. And in the meantime, it's on people that are fucking extremely experienced and very good. And for the shit person like myself, it does nothing.
Less than 6 months, maybe.
Apart from waste your money.
Maybe even less than a year. If you've picked up this video and you've watched all the way to this point, please do learn to run and understand your body, because the sport is a wonderful thing, and there are so many gizmos and gadgets out there that are going to help us and potentially more experienced runners track data, track everything that they want to know. But ultimately, there's a fundamental there of understanding your body and how you run. So if you're going out there purchasing running watches, heart
Is he busy counting the seconds that he has left or the minutes he has left? I do that.
rate monitors,
Not a very good thing. I'm sitting there going, this and then this and then okay, 1 and then 2 and then 7 minutes and then 4, and I'm that guy.
lactate meters, foot pods, whatever it might be.
Oh, fuck it. Okay, I know you get lactate tested, but I thought that was like a full little blood thing. I didn't realize you could just buy one as like a casual.
To try and dictate your training and tell you how to run from the get-go, you are setting yourself up to fail. And I hate to be a bit brutal and a bit honest, but you really need to understand breathing patterns. You need to learn actually how you feel and not let
Okay, it's a breathing thing.
Technology dictate. So I'm not trying to put you off buying any of this stuff, but if you are a new runner, I'd strongly recommend just using it in conjunction with trying to learn your body, how to learn about breathing patterns, how to learn how you feel at certain efforts. When I coach athletes, I'll often talk to them about working to feel and trying to understand.
Also, okay, I feel like we need to address this. Can men please stop wearing fucking tights when you run? No one wants to see your dick. Don't want to see your dick, they'll ask to see your dick. We don't need to see your dick. Please put some shorts over that. I understand the running tights. Make sure nothing chafes. Feels a lot better. I wear them underneath something. No one wants to see what you're packing continuously. The same reason only the weird, creepy old men wear Speedos.
And how they're feeling at a certain pace. So maybe even in the beginning, it's about, right, go and run this pace. Tell me how you feel. Run this pace. Tell me how you feel. Whoa, you feel like that at this pace? That's where you need to lock into in the future. That's the effort level that we're looking to target. That is exactly what we're looking for. Just doing these little tests here and there that are going to allow you to understand your body is far more important than gizmos and gadgets. So I'm not necessarily saying to avoid buying them at all, but please don't buy them if you're going to use them to completely dictate your training. So there we go. Those are my thoughts on the...
Oh, he didn't really break them out. He just lumped them into one big category, which in fairness does make sense. I feel like it's such specialized equipment that is so focused on eking out like the minimal margins, or to such a precise extent that the average person, fucking it doesn't matter, homie. Just try carry on for a little bit longer and you're fine. I don't think we need to kind of force the fact that, oh, we're going to measure our lactate, and no, that's our lactate threshold. When you train, they're like, dude, if you just, fucking buy a cheap watch, well, I have to use cheap very relatively because most running watches are not cheap, and just do basic tests of like, oh, I can speak at this level, kind of. It's probably more of an easy pace for me.
Those running products. Over to you guys. What have you tested? What have you bought into the hype of, purchased, and been really disappointed with?
Super shoes. I don't know if the Boston Tall's kind of super shoes. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love them. They feel great. They are probably my favorite running shoes that I've got, which is not an extensive collection. But I'm just not fast enough, I think, to actually get the benefit of the carbon fiber rods. Maybe in like a fucking downhill portion, but in general, probably not.
Or bought into the hype of, purchased, and now would not be without, please do drop a comment below. It'd be great to hear from you guys, because you guys share some incredibly invaluable feedback for so many people to read and enjoy. And this is quite the topic, really, so I think it'd be great to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Obvious ones that I haven't mentioned: I haven't tested massage boots, so I can't comment on those, and I've never used a running app for my training, so again, I can't comment.
Ooh, that's actually a very interesting one for those that have access to very fancy smartwatches. Or very fancy smartwatches. I mean, specifically the higher end Garments that have that running coach app thing. That seems really cool. I've heard a lot about that. That seems very interesting. Also, the person's about to not buy a Garment, but yes.
Comment on that. But anything else I've missed, or if you have shared experiences that I've talked about today, please do drop it below. If you have contradicting opinions or you agree with me, I'd love to hear from you. Please do let people know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, guys, and want some training plan advice, some brutally honest training and plan advice, check out this video up here. That should help you. And if you're interested in knowing what might be slowing your progress down in running, check out this video down here. And I'll see you guys over there. As the running so
Yeah, so I know I was very condescending and a bit of a prick, but that's, I think, my general personality, so unfortunately is what it is. That was actually quite a well done video, really well constructed. I actually kind of liked that, and I thought it was very insightful as well. By FOD Runner. I will drop the link in chat and put it in the that is not what I meant to do. Fuck. Put this in my history. So drop it a like. If you enjoyed it, check it out yourself. And yeah, we might actually react to some of his more stuff, because I think he's very down to earth in terms of what he does. We'll see how the fitness focus stuff and the running focus stuff does on the channel before I commit to saying I'm going to do more of that. But yeah, that is, I think, where we're going to transition.